like to call the March 13th, 2025 Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission meeting to order. Would you call the, oh, it's not here, there you are.
Yes, I can
Would you call the roll, please?
Duncan Campbell.
Here.
Karen Duffy.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Jeremy Hackard.
Here.
Ernesto Castaneda.
Here.
Reynard Cross.
Here.
Sam DeSola.
Here.
Melody Dusner.
Here.
Elizabeth Mitchell. Daniel Schlegel. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Quorum is present.
All right. I believe, Jeremy, you might have had some corrections to the minutes.
Yeah, on page 6, Jack Baker and myself are listed as advisory members. We are voting members now. And then we also have on page 10, I was listed as a co-chair, vice chair. And then I believe, and I don't know if this needs to go in there or not, but Duncan had also volunteered for the district committee as well.
Okay, so on page 6, advisory members are the voting members, not advisory members. Page 10, it's vice chair, not co-chair.
Right.
Okay, and then what was the third item?
Page 11, Duncan Campbell had volunteered as an advisory member to
Ah.
And me too.
And, okay.
that's it.
Does anybody else have anything for the minutes? Entertain a motion on the minutes?
I move to approve the meetings from last hearing.
All corrected?
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to approve the minutes from February 27th with the corrections noted. Go ahead and take a vote on those. All right, Duncan Campbell. This would be a vote for approval with the corrections. All right. And I'm sorry, Duncan, if I talked over you.
Who's
Oh, sorry. Yep, thank you. Karen Duffy.
Advisory.
Okay, Jack Baker.
Yes.
Jeremy Hackard.
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda.
Yes.
Reynard Cross.
Yes.
Sam DeSola.
Yes.
Melanie Dusner.
Yes.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is, minutes are approved with those corrections.
All right. So at this point in the meeting, I'm supposed to read that thing, which I can't find.
Can't find it?
Well, I had it, and I don't know where I put it. One moment. All right, so at this point in the meeting, the Historic Preservation Commission will hear petitions for certificates of appropriateness, followed by demolition delays. For each item, the Historic Preservation Program Manager will first present a staff report, and then we'll hear if the petitioner has any additional information, followed by a round of questions from each commissioner. We ask that petitioners, the public, and commissioners refrain from speaking unless addressed by the chair, unless a question is directly addressed to them. If a member of the public or a petitioner wishes to comment, please raise your hand until recognized by the chair. Upon completion of the public comments, the chair will entertain motions from the commission regarding the relevant certificate of appropriateness or demolition delay. And once a motion is made by a commissioner, the chair then opens up a discussion of the item for members of the commission only. The chair will call for a vote once each commissioner has been given a chance to comment on the motion. We encourage all commissioners, petitioners, and members of the public to be civil and respectful at all times. So, first on the agenda.
First item on the agenda, COA 2509, the address 803 North Maple Street in the Maple Heights Historic District. The petitioner is Linda Jean Camp. This item was first reviewed by the Historic Preservation Commission on February 13th, 2025. Several discrepancies were discussed between the proposed plans and the Maple Heights Historic District guidelines, including vertical siding, a shed pitch roof, and fenestration patterns facing Maple Street. Comments were also made regarding the level of detail included in the measured drawings. Subsequently, a new plan has been submitted that includes a hipped roof on the addition, horizontal siding, and an additional window on the Maple Street facade. The proposed addition would not significantly alter the footprint of the existing house, extending the garage slightly further back. Most of the surrounding buildings are one story. However, the building across the street at 720 West 12th Street has 2 floors. Therefore, the overall size and height of the addition appears consistent with the neighborhood guidelines. Aside from the attached garage and rear roof line, alterations for existing materials are minimal. The new plan submitted includes horizontal clapboard siding, a hipped roof, and an additional window on the east elevation, bringing the building's overall appearance more in line with the surrounding houses and district guidelines. I also understand that the petitioner is planning on using a 6-inch reveal on the hardy board siding, I believe that's correct, and casement windows on the addition. With these alterations, staff recommends approval of the new plan for COA 2509. I also have a printed copy of the blueprints if anybody would like to see them in more detail. Is the petitioner here?
Yes.
Do you have anything?
No, do you have them up?
I have them up, but these, you're gonna make out a little easier. Not working great.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to add, Petitioner?
No, I think he covered it. I think we're good.
Thank you kindly. All right. Where are we? Any members from the public want to add anything at this point? All right. Commissioners, Jack, you have questions?
No, I don't have any questions right now.
Yeah. Jeremy?
I have no questions.
Duncan?
No questions.
Bernard? Melody? Aaron? Ernesto?
Yes, do we have any feedback from the neighborhood association or
I have not heard back from them yet.
no adjacent neighbors at all either?
Not since we last heard this item.
Okay, thank you.
Would you remind us what they said the first time around?
So the first time, they mentioned the 3 concerns that were brought up in this packet. Those are no longer in the plans, but it included the pitch of the roof, the orientation of the new siding, and the fenestration facing Maple Street. The applicant has since added an additional window there. So those 3 issues were addressed in this new proposal.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Do we have anybody online who has any questions?
We do not have anyone in the chat.
Thank you. Well, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve COA 2509.
I will second that. All right. Let's go around with comments. Jack?
It's come a long way. It's, I was thinking on the way here, it's, with us as commissioners for the Historic Preservation Commission, I know each of us probably has 2 minds about these things. One of them is that we have to be sticklers about how things look, how things fit into neighborhoods, and we want to make them fit as closely as possible. On the other hand, we want to allow the homeowner to do things with their home, give them some flexibility. This was an easy no at the beginning because there just wasn't any commitment to the neighborhood in the new build part of the house. And so I flip-flopped on this, voted no on it once or twice, and I'm glad to see that it's come as far as it has, and I want to hear what other commissioners have to say, but I'm very close to giving this a positive vote.
Jeremy?
And going by this property and kind of thinking about how the back will be built up, and then seeing how the other houses are, especially, it kind of slopes as you go up to the north. So it won't seem like overly tall compared to the rest of the houses. So that was like my one main concern, but based on kind of taking a look at that, I feel pretty comfortable with it.
Duncan?
I don't have any comments.
All right.
No comments.
No comments.
Ernest?
Yes, major improvements from last time for sure. I appreciate the efforts. I still have an issue with the height of the building. I just did a very quick survey just using Google Maps, and I see that the vast majority of the neighbors here are one-story structures. This would be the only one who would be a full two-story structure. I don't, if I read this correctly from the design guidelines, the perceived total mass and site coverage of a new building should be consistent with surrounding buildings when it talks about mass. Then, in recommended building height, new construction at the end of the block should take into account building heights of adjacent blocks. I don't see a two-story structure on the immediate properties.
You have anything else?
No.
All right. So I would agree with my fellow commissioners. Most of my fellow commissioners, that this has come a very long way, and that the petitioner has done quite a lot to address the comments both from the neighborhood and from previous meetings. And I would also like to reinforce what Commissioner Hackard said. In this neighborhood, there are a few two-story houses, and this one is on a lower part of the hill, and there are some taller houses at higher elevations. So I would respectfully disagree with Commissioner Castaneda that it's going to be too high for that neighborhood. It's, I ran a height calc on it. It's, from the base to the top, it's going to be just under 21 feet to the peak of the roof. And visually, it's only going to be a little under 18 feet at the back. So, mass-wise, height-wise, these are guidelines, and I appreciate that the houses immediately adjacent to it are not two stories, and that a majority of the houses are either one story, some of them are 1.5. There are a couple twos, but I think the terrain mitigates the additional height on this one. Any other comments?
Yeah, if I may.
Sure.
Well, it's more of a question. When it says adjacent, does it mean immediately adjacent or?
Usually adjacent is next door.
Right. Okay.
The language in the guidelines here is new constructions end of a block should take into account building heights on adjacent blocks.
Yeah, that's blocks though.
Right.
That's not lots.
Right.
Right.
And this is actually, I would not count this as new construction. This is
An addition.
an addition.
Well, the thing is because Maple Heights, currently what they have are conservation district guidelines rather than historic district guidelines. What I have to go off of are the guidelines for new construction. So the neighborhood is submitting for review their new district guidelines, but those haven't been approved yet.
But if you want to be on the district subcommittee, you can.
It's full. It's all filled up.
The thing is, I live 2 streets over, and there are probably about 3 two-story buildings, of which I occupy one. And on 12th Street, there are probably about 8 that I can think of. So, may not be immediately adjacent, but certainly within 2 blocks of where that is, there are several 2-story buildings, so.
It's not gonna be an anomalous structure
No,
within the neighborhood.
It would be.
Do you have anything else? I think I'm ready to call the vote.
I just had somebody join in over Zoom. I don't know if that would be part of public comment or if that's something that's allowed at this time.
I'm happy to do that. If they would like to comment on this or have a question about this, have them raise their hand. Otherwise, we will take a vote.
I'm also trying to type. Ernest XI, they were at the last meeting, I recall from Value Bill, and they're not speaking on this one, so I think we can go forward.
All right, so I think that's what we got. If you would
Sure.
call the roll on this one. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yes.
All right, there was a motion to approve COA 2509, which was seconded. Discussion ensued. We're now ready to take a vote. A vote yes would be to approve. Jack Baker,
I'm in agreement with the staff analysis, yes.
Jeremy Hacker,
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda,
No.
Renard Cross,
Yes.
Sam DeSola,
Yes.
Melanie Dusner.
Yes.
Right, that would be 5 yes, 1 no, and that motion passes.
Thank you both for coming in. Thanks for your
Thank you,
patience.
guys.
All right. Next item, COA 2511. This is for 601 North Morton Street, the Showers Administrative Building located in the Showers Furniture Historic District. Petitioner is Sean Yurton. The Showers Furniture Company Administrative Building is a 1916 office building designed by Bloomington architect J.L. Nichols. The building is currently undergoing a substantial interior restoration, and a new set of entry doors are being proposed for the secondary south elevation. I have a packet included, which there are images from in the PowerPoint with more information about the set of aluminum doors being proposed. And we also have here a glass sample for the glass that he's intending on using. You can see the current doors in place are replacements. Those, I believe, are solid aluminum. The window above is to remain in place, and the doors below to be removed and replaced. Staff recommends approval of COA 2511. The proposed doors match the size and materials of the existing replacement doors on the south elevation, and their modern design neither disrupts the building's historic characteristics nor conveys a false sense of history. If anybody else would like to have a, or you can pass them around when you want to. I also have a set of glass here, the type that's intended to be used on the new replacement doors. And does the petitioner have anything that he'd like to add?
What is proposed is the low E. It gives us a little bit of reflective, but it is transparent. The low E has a green tint on it.
All right. Anyone else from the public have any comment on this? Anyone online have comment on this? Raise your hand.
The person online is put it here for the demolition delay.
Okay. Well, any questions? Why don't we start with Ernesto?
No questions.
Any questions?
Well, my only question is not about this set of doors, so I don't know if this is legitimate, but I was curious if there's a plan for this other set of
I
doors.
hear that he wants to save them, but that's not part of this.
Yeah, okay,
Little short doors down the way, yeah.
yeah, okay. That was
Melody,
it.
you have any questions? Or Mark?
No questions.
Duncan?
Yeah, is this gonna be how's it gonna be used? Is this gonna be a primary way in and out of the building, or is this actually open to these doors open for the public to use the building?
Depends on the tenant, as to how they decide to use the door. The actual entry to 601 is actually on Morton,
Right.
whereas this is on 10th. But it will have the ability to be a primary because it's a direct access to the second level, or actually to the first and second level.
There's a stairway inside there, isn't there? Okay. And my other question is, are there any historic pictures of what was there that you know?
Not aware of any.
The reason I ask you is when we did this building, we made these kinds of modern adjustments on the primary entries where we knew they were gonna get a lot of use and so on. As a matter of fact, changed the entries on both sides of the Showers building to accommodate sort of the public view of it. But on the secondary entries, we rehabilitated the historic doors. I know you don't have any historic doors, but I would bet that they look like those short ones, except they're full size, which is a wood door and a little harder to maintain, but would be a little more historically appropriate. However, I mean, I guess I'll wait till I comment, but I'm kind of mixed about it because if it ends up just being a storage entrance or something, I don't think these kinds of doors are appropriate.
Can I expand on my comment? So I guess my definition of primary may be different than yours as far as use. I still see heavy traffic, but I don't know if it will be considered a primary or not. If there are multiple tenants, it will absolutely be a primary.
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Sure.
No questions.
Okay.
The glass above the door is being retained, correct, in its rectangular form?
Yes, sir.
And it looks like, from a picture I saw earlier, it looks like a striated kind of, it's not transparent, but it's a striated glass. It can't be seen through, but still it transmits light.
Are you talking about the existing glass?
Yes. I'm wondering if that is to be matched or retained.
That will be retained. There is nothing on this request that involves anything other than remediating the 6-panel windows.
And then the doors themselves will be transparent?
It will be
Clear
one of
glass.
the 2 glasses,
Yeah.
which we prefer to
Whether they're low E or not, they'll be clear glass. That's all I have.
Now, just to add a little more context on that, I believe the clear glass is a UDO requirement. So that was something that was discussed with planning.
So planning doesn't want any kind of obscure glass?
That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay.
You know why?
Probably a security issue.
It sounds
We have a
like
person from planning on.
Yeah, do we have anybody from planning
he
on the
said
line?
he was going to be joining.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they say tinted or clear?
I didn't hear any specification about
Okay.
tinted over clear. So my understanding was that clear should be fine.
I'm gonna make sure we can have questions. This video is disabled. Yeah, and audio. I'm sharing that. Unable to unmute yourself.
So what's the material?
Yeah, thanks. Much.
I'm asking him to unmute.
Okay.
Okay. Eric, you're unmuted.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, was there a question there?
Yes, it was about UDO requirements for clear glass on this entry door.
Yes, so the UDO does require transparent glass for all windows. Usually that does apply to doors. Yeah. What do the doors look like now?
I'll pull that up for you.
Yeah.
So this is what we're looking at here.
But you said those were replaced.
I'm not sure if it's.
Okay.
They're translucent, straight, and
But the doors are gonna be, I mean, they're proposing for clear glass on the replacement doors, which would comply with the UDO.
Yeah, why is there a requirement for clear glass? What's the thinking behind it?
Do you hear the question, Eric?
Yeah, I did. Give me just a second. I'm looking something up here. Yeah, so really it just addresses display windows, and doors. So doors would typically need to be transparent.
I'm sorry, does it mean display windows and display doors, or just display
No, it
windows
says
and
doors.
doors?
So display windows, entries, and doors.
Is this on all property types or just commercial?
Facade facing a street.
Right, and I'm still wondering why there's a what's the thinking behind that requirement?
That we want to be able to see and interact with buildings, having windows that are not transparent, that are tinted or blacked out, creates a different pedestrian experience along the sidewalk and street.
So I think this is a bit of a side issue, but I'd be curious about, does this also apply to residential properties?
Yes, anywhere where windows are required, they're required to be transparent.
So that precludes things like art glass,
Stained glass.
stained glass.
That's a little bit different. Nobody's doing we have not encountered a situation where somebody's doing stained glass on the first floor of a building.
Huh. All right. Well, I think we're getting a little.
Wait for it.
So I think thank you, Eric. I think that covers the concerns on this one. Does anybody else have anything?
I'm ready for comments.
Well, we do usually make a motion and then we will discuss.
Okay.
Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve COA 2511.
I'll second.
All right. Comments, questions?
Yes,
Ernesto?
yes, thank you, Sam. This is the way I see this is a truly commercial type door. There's no minuscule resemblance of what it could be as a traditional door, even though it might or it might not be the primary door. I'm just looking at here at the existing window that is there facing Morton Street. Beautiful door. The hardware that is made out of wood still has the closer. I wish the petitioner could have the sensibility to address that as a traditional historic building. This proposed door doesn't meet any of those characteristics. So I get the point that Duncan is making about using this type of door. I would encourage the petitioner to look at the front door and try to get something close to that. That's it.
Okay. Jeremy, you have comments, questions?
I think in looking at, I drove by this earlier today, and now I'm looking at the front door on Google Street View. But there are similarities between the their suggested replacement door and that front door, they have the same rectangular like glass portion, and then they also have like a darker color. So that's my observation.
Bernard, do you have questions, comments? Melody? Aaron? Jack? I also walked by this door, not.
You passed, okay. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Duncan, did I get you? No, I'll get you in a sec. I went by this door earlier, and it's a hollow metal door. It's a 2-inch frame, flush metal, probably put in the 60s, 70s. It is not a special door, and they just shoved it in under the historic wood transom. And given that there's a lot of traffic, it anticipated at this secondary entrance, I think that this door is actually fairly appropriate. But I'd be curious to hear what you think, Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, I always like to see replicas, but when possible, but we don't actually have an example of this door, to my knowledge. It doesn't mean we couldn't go find historic pictures of this building. But I have agreed in the past on the other showers projects that these modern, somewhat more efficient doors are appropriate for new public entries and where there seems to be a lot of use. And I agree with the petitioner that's probably going to get a lot of use. And the fact that it's new just tells you that it's a replacement for a replacement. So if he was taking the original door out, it would be different. But that's not the case. And so I actually think this would be okay.
And I think, I mean, I was looking at the packet, and the size of the store frame is 1 3/4 frame. So it's less commercial. I mean, it's small, it's as tight as you can get for a door that's pretty durable. So I appreciate that this door is going to be fairly innocuous in terms of its presentation in this building. It's not going to stand out, which I think is actually important given that it's a replacement door. Anyway, do we have any other comments before we proceed? Anything from anyone online? Okay. So we've got a motion out there.
So there's a motion on the table for COA 2511. It's been seconded, discussion ensued. Now it's time to vote. A yes would be to go with staff's recommendation. Jack Baker,
Yes.
Jeremy Hackard,
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda,
No.
Reynard Kraus,
Yes.
Sam DeSoler,
Yes.
Melody Dusner.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 yes, 1 no, 0 abstain. That motion passes.
All right.
Thank you. Does that mean I can do the low east if it's still a transparent? Okay.
Yeah. Are you gonna need your samples?
If it's not too much.
Oh, fair enough.
Yes, I'll hang on.
One more thing you have to lug around. See you guys.
I have a bit of a hoard, so I can stick this somewhere. Turn my cubicle into something. Yeah. Okay. Next item, COA 2512. For 1017 East First Street in the Elm Heights Historic District, the petitioner is David Kamen. For a circa 1940 2-story colonial revival house. This house has, you can kind of make it out behind the tree there, an enclosed porch on the east side elevation. The side porch is topped with a deck encircled by a cedar post railing. Subsequent to a February rental inspection by the City Department of Housing and Neighborhood Development, city staff recommended that the current railing was unsafe and should be repaired or replaced. The property owner replaced the previous railing with a new cedar post railing prior to filing for a COA with the Historic Preservation Program Manager. The primary difference between the previous railing and the newly installed railing is that the height of the posts has been increased from 36 inches to 48 inches. 42 inches. So, this is before picture. The left-hand side is facing the street. You can see here the porch. It's hard to make out here. It's on the right-hand side of the building. That's right in the shadow. And this is the new railing that's been installed. There's some differences in the caps, in the railing height. The staff recommendation is for approval of COA 2512. Although the alterations to the railing are minor, they do not constitute a replacement in kind. The design and materials of the replacement porch are very similar to the previous structure, which itself was not original. Furthermore, the materials and design are not unsympathetic to the house or neighborhood guidelines and improve the safety of residents using the deck. Does the petitioner have anything else they'd like to add?
Just one thing. We did 42 because it's safer. We generally, if we have 36 on buildings, we change it to 42 so people, in case they're drinking or God knows what, don't go over this side. So that's commercial height.
Thank you. All right, did we hear anything back from the Home Heights neighborhood design review folks?
I haven't yet. I heard back from the person who had reported it. He saw that something was happening. He didn't know what was happening after I filled him in. He said something to the effect of, okay, I was checking and just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Do we have any comments from anyone online on this one? All right. I think I'll go around. Ernesto, you have any questions?
No questions.
Questions? Questions?
Was it previously painted?
No.
That's just the weathered color of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no questions.
Bernard?
No questions.
Duncan? Jeremy?
Maybe this is too inside baseball, but when this was inspected and they were told to replace it, was, historic preservation consulted at all?
It was not.
It might be something to kind of internal departmental things of if they ID these kinds of things to maybe
I'll flag them to us.
flag them to NOAA just to help get out ahead of it so it's not an issue down the road, just a communication thing. That's it.
Jack, you have any questions?
No.
All right. We're at that point where I will entertain motions.
I'll move to approve.
For your second?
Second that.
Second? All right. Thoughts, comments?
My one comment is I went by this place and I drove by several different times, got out, and you have to kind of like look at a certain angle to really see that it's there in the first place. Very difficult to see from the road because it's largely obstructed by that tree that's on the right side of that picture. Honestly, I drove by the first time, I didn't see it. So, just an observation.
That's my only comment would be I'm happy that you're, given the behavior of students, that you are raising it to a more commercial height. So, but come by next time.
If we put a number.
Yeah. No. Well, now you know. So
Yeah, I've
here we are.
since spoken with the inspector, and I think it sounded like to me because the railing wasn't original, and it wasn't an integral part of the building itself. That sort of skipped her mind coming to me, but I don't think that's going to happen with her again.
You got a question, comment?
I have a
You do?
comment.
Bernard?
Yeah, I think your comment was about, creating some kind of internal structure where, and whereas I would support that, I think this commission knows my issues with retroactive COAs. And I again, see these things coming back, and let me just say that the city in general doesn't seem to be taking them seriously. There is usually no kind of sanction that's attached to it, and I'm not recommending any kind of sanction. I mean, that's a decision for another body. But I believe that there should be some kind of consequence meted out to persons who know what they're required to do and fail to do it, and only when they get caught decide to put through a retroactive COA and expect us to rubber stamp it. So I'll say again for the record that I would like for a position to be taken for these retroactive COAs, and that we start exercising sanctions for people who don't follow the process and end up coming here after the fact. That's my only comment. So.
Thank you. Jack, you have a comment?
Neighborhood, have anything in the neighborhood rules, is there anything said about such railings?
Replace them in kind. So for me, I think this kind of addresses both of your comments. I think this is kind of a gray area between in kind and repair or replace. It's very close. It's arguably close to what was there. And I think the other thing is it feels less intentional and more of a hand came and told us this was unsafe and we're trying to fix it. And then somebody from the public came in and said, so I don't think this, in this case, my read on it is that it was trying to comply with a city agency in a way that they did not think was contravening any historic statutes. I mean, it could, you stretch a little, this is very close to what was there, but it's not exactly the same. And I think that's actually, in this case, maybe not aesthetically, but safety-wise, it's much better. So I am very much willing to give the petitioner the benefit of the doubt on this one. Do we have any other comments?
Yeah, historically, we over the years, we've tried to remind the city agencies, of their responsibility to report to us. And so, I think, we might consider some kind of annual reminder to the building department, which actually is pretty good about it.
Yeah.
The planning department for sure, even hand, and obviously people who are inspecting just need to know that they have that responsibility. I agree with you that this doesn't seem like somebody's trying to dodge a bullet. It's just trying to comply. And so the problem with punishment, if you will, is finding the person to blame. and often it's the city.
I have no objection to blaming everybody.
No, I know, we can find them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that historically, that's been an issue. Now, there have obviously been cases where somebody was trying to dodge a bullet. I don't think this is one of them. And the guideline replace in kind, sometimes violates historic standards in and of itself.
Yeah.
So this would have probably been a metal railing had there even been a railing up there originally. So. But, it's what it is. It is what it is.
All right, we got a motion on the table.
So there's a motion on the table for COA 2512. It's been seconded, and it was a motion to approve staff's recommendation. Go ahead and call the vote. Jack Baker,
Yes.
Jeremy Hackard,
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda,
Yes.
Reynard Kraus,
Yes.
Sam Solar,
Yes.
Melanie Dusner,
Yes.
That would be 6 yes, 0 no, 0 abstains, motion passes.
Thanks for coming, appreciate it.
I brought the, their notice and it didn't say anything about,
Oh, yeah.
So when they gave us the list says repair or replace, that's what we did.
Mhm.
So, and we actually made it a lot stronger too, so.
That's not a bad thing.
Okay.
Thanks again.
All right,
Take care.
Yeah, it's next document item.
Are they online still?
Looks like.
Okay.
I can get started as well.
Yeah, it should be all enabled. I just want to make sure that he's aware.
We have one demolition delay item for tonight, DD 2505. That is not correct. It's correct in your packet, it's not correct in the presentation. 2505. The address is 416 North Jefferson Street. The petitioner is Value Built Construction. This is a 1948 minimal ranch that was built in what was recently platted as the Highland Homes subdivision. The building is fronted with a brick veneer and a centered gable with a picture window. The primary entrance is located on the side of the gable and an entry portico partly covered by a waist-high brick wall. A screened front porch dominates the southern third of the facade, although there have been alterations to the garage as well as some siding and replacement fenestration. The building's footprint and overall appearance are mostly unchanged. The first occupants of the house were Lester and Claudine Tolbert, born in Vincennes in 1899 and Bloomington in 1903, respectively. Lester worked as a traveling glove salesman when the company bought the new house, and the pair soon opened a children's clothing store called Tolbert's Tots nearby on East 10th Street. After Robert's death in 1961, Claudine continued to run the store into the 1970s and moved out of the house at 416 North Jefferson Street in 1980. The request is for full demolition. The staff recommendation is release of demolition delay 2505.
And the petitioner is with us online. Do you have anything to add?
I do not. I think you covered it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have questions? Jack? Jack, do you have any questions?
No.
Jeremy? Duncan? Bernard?
No.
Melody? Karen? Ernesto? I have no questions. I will entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve. Release of DD 2504.
Second? All right. Discussion? Anybody have anything they want to add? Is this what the one in the multifamily district?
Yeah, this is bordering the IU campus
Yeah.
on Jefferson Street.
Okay. All right.
I have a question. There were 2 people that seconded, I think at the same time, so I just want to make sure I have it correct for the record.
I did.
Okay, and I thought I heard it over here. Thanks, Renard.
Did I miss any public comment?
The
Anybody
only-
online have any? Okay, I think that's it. Hearing no comments, I think we can call a vote.
Okay, so there's a motion to, to release the demolition delay for demolition delay 2505. It's been motioned and seconded. We'll now take a vote on that. Jack Baker.
Abstain.
Jeremy Hackert.
The yes is to.
The yes
release.
is
To release.
correct.
Yes.
Ernesto Castaneda.
Yes.
Renard Cross.
Yes.
Sam DeSoler.
Yes.
Melanie Dusner.
Yes.
That would be 5 yes, 0 no, 1 abstain. That motion to release passes.
Can you read the thing?
Today regarding the property located at 416 North Jefferson Street, the Historic Preservation Commission declares that it got notice of proposed demolition, and after today's discussion sees no need to review the plans any further and waives the rest of the demolition delay waiting period. HPC may later recommend the property for historic designation to the Common Council.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in virtually. So that's sort of the end of the packet. Do we have any old business updates? Have we heard anything about the Dunn Street sidewalk yet back?
So, because the work there was conducted by another city department, that's going to have to be a conversation between departments. And that is something that Anna and I have to have a discussion about.
Okay, still tracking that down. And I was remiss earlier because I did not ask the commissioners if there was any new business they wanted to propose. So I will belatedly ask. I will put one thing on there, and that is a follow-up. I would encourage you all, if there are cases, especially violation cases, you want to know what happened, you want to know what the fines were, you want to know what those consequences were, make a list of things that you want to know what's going on with, send them to NOAA, and we're going to try to do a monthly sort of checkup just to track these things, to see where they are.
Couldn't we just make that a normal thing? Just
Every meeting?
every meeting? I mean, it could be a simple thing like, 123 Elm Street, no change. I don't think there are that much that it would be.
So how many
burdensome.
outstanding cases, notice violation cases are out there? I think once we do it, we don't have to do it again, right? And then once it's settled, it's settled. But I think there are some things, what I'm saying is like, what are the things that have been settled that we don't know what happened? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so, the ones that are still ongoing, it's fine, but the ones that are closed, okay.
Okay, so checking on the sidewalk, we haven't heard back. Checking in on Willow Terrace, which is the other one that comes to mind. I think they're probably still waiting on tile.
That's the last I heard.
What was the clock? That was like September, right? And it was 6 months.
6 months.
6 months, so that's coming up.
What was that? Do they have to comply with the time frame?
So would somebody, either you, Noah, or you, Anna, be willing to follow up with them just to check in and see what the status of that is?
So,
Sure.
do they have to comply with the time frame, or is this an open-ended?
They were at one point given a deadline which passed, is my understanding.
They were given a 60-day deadline by letter, and because they were not going to be able to get the tile within that time frame, and we were able to verify that that was the case, they were not held to that 60-day timeline because it was impossible.
I had called Ludovici, and they gave me the same timeline that I had been given by the property owners, which we're coming up on that.
Sorry, what was the timeline given by the manufacturers?
That was they estimated 6 months as well.
Okay, and when is the 6 months up?
That's what we're checking in on.
Oh,
It's coming up soonishly.
Pardon?
Yeah, so it's March something probably. But, when you're waiting for material, you wait until it shows up.
He's inventing new words.
Soonishly.
It's coming by safe road.
All right, I think we have, sorry?
Did you want to say anything about the historic district?
Oh, right. So we do have a meeting time and date set. It's the first Thursday of the month at 4. And since Daniel isn't here, we can for sure say that it's at the Monroe County History Center. He volunteered it. And the city is going to notice it. So whoever wants to come can come. And right now we've got Jeremy, myself, and Daniel, and Karen, and Duncan, if you can be there.
And I'm waiting to hear back from Maple Heights on whether they want their proposed guidelines discussed at this meeting. So, I filled them in on that. wind tier.
Okay, but I think, we'll sort of cover what we want to cover at that meeting.
You gonna send something out on that note?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's,
It's gonna be noticed in the same way that we notice these meetings.
that's sort of a standing every month kind of thing. All right, we have anything else? No. Commissioner, hearing no further, I will adjourn.
We do have somebody that joined that said RDC. I did ask if they were here for public comment. There's been no response in the chat, so I don't know.
Is that RDC?
Yes, RDC guest has joined.
Yes.
Okay. Do we want to unmute them and ask them what they're here for?
Yes, I've been doing that in the chat and there was not,
Well,
there was not any response in the chat, so we've already
Yeah.
established that
RDC is
before.
unmuted.
Yeah, this is Randy Cassidy. I just joined in because of my interest in history. I just got out of another meeting and was, like anything, always glad to hear the discussions of how you guys handled the history of Bloomington, Indiana. So I appreciate it.
Thanks for attending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Take
sorry
care.
to say that you missed it.
All right.
Okay.
So we are adjourned?
yeah, that's